this evening when I heard music echo through the night. So I started running so I wouldn't be too late. In the neon light, what the music could reveal through the night.
Welcome everyone to Coaching the Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I'll be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about EQ, which is emotional intelligence. And if you know anything about emotional intelligence, you will understand that it's your nonverbal communication. And in a sense, it's kind of like a sixth sense, where it's like we can pay attention to what people are feeling, what they're thinking, by simply paying attention. But it's almost like a lost art nowadays. Many people are so caught up and wound up in their own life that they don't pay attention to other people. And it's something I had to learn when I was like 21. I always thought people were looking at me. I was like, oh, people are watching me. I have to make sure I dress right and all this stuff. And this is right out of high school, going into college for some years now, thinking that people really care. In reality, many people just kind of go on with their own life. Now, of course, sometimes people might ridicule what you're wearing, but many times you're not going to be worried about, well, let me go to Walmart or let me go to a grocery store and then figure out what people are wearing and then ridicule what they wear. It's not that, right? So understanding that people are just going to operate on their own accord is going to be a lower level of EQ. But we're going to be diving into EQ, emotional intelligence, in today's blog, because there's so much more than just what people wear. How about how they feel? How about where they are? Are they courageous? Are they ambitious? All of that can be told non-verbally. So stay tuned for that so you can learn how to hire your emotional intelligence, which is going to help you in the areas that I'm going to be breaking down today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to share this video and your audio to help build a like-minded community of growth-minded individuals. So let's get into the blog and get a really good understanding of what emotional intelligence is. So here we have our most recent blog. If you're new to the channel or new to the podcast, you're going to head over to revenconcepts.com, go to resources, and then you'll see blogs. And then, of course, the latest blog that comes out every Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, will be up on top. And the blog that came out yesterday is emotional intelligence. So, as I said, emotional intelligence is going to be dealing with our nonverbal type of communication. But what is emotional intelligence? Well, have you ever walked into a room and kind of felt the energy where you felt maybe there's a fight, maybe something was off, you just didn't feel right? That's emotional intelligence. Now, we all have it. It's just that do we pay attention to it? And in order to be an effective communicator, an effective teacher, emotional intelligence has to be high. And it's not so much that you have to see everyone in the world. That is far from the truth. You just pay attention to the people you need to pay attention to. So for me, I'll pay attention to my students, my clients, but I'm not going to just go out in the world and just find people who are depressed, give them a business card and just say, call me when you're ready. No. If they are ready, they will find a way. But many people are in that state of unhappiness and that state of despair now more than ever. Inflation's record high. Gas prices are going up. Right now, for the next 3 months, we are going to be maybe having lower gas prices than typical because of the federal tax being taken away for 3 months. But that's going to end. And that's only a band-aid to the bigger problem. But we're not going to make this a political type of podcast because, yes, we do talk about politics here, but it's all about mindset. So if we can tie politics and mindset, we will. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, we have to just start to see the mindset of people. Where are they right now? Because if we can understand that they might not be in a good place, then we can make adjustments. What I want to tell you before we really dive in and I start giving all the examples on emotional intelligence and how you can relate that into your life, it is not our job to make anyone feel a certain way. If we offend someone, that's on them. If we say something that maybe we regret, then that will be on us, right? Because we are the people in charge of us, our actions. So if we say something that we maybe don't want to say again, we can put that forefront of our mind, and then we can make it a mission for us or a goal not to say what we said or to do what we did. However, sometimes there's going to be people who take on the world and they said, I'm going to fix all the world's problems. I'm going to fix all my friends and my family's issues. They're fixers. And there's nothing wrong with being a fixer. The problem is you'll fix everyone else's life, but you won't fix yours. So this is for you too, to pay attention to your emotions, how you're feeling. Are you feeling uplifted or drained? And though you might be doing something intrinsically fulfilling and you're going to be filled with gratitude and you're going to be happy, eventually you're going to find yourself empty. And that's a tough place to get out of unless you have someone also reciprocating that type of giving and generosity. So when it comes to emotional intelligence, you have to think of a higher level of learning. And that higher level of learning is going to help you critical think, be more courageous, have an impact on your career, your success, your relationships. All of those different things are affected by emotional intelligence. So you might be thinking, well, why do I have to learn emotional intelligence? And that is the reason. Do you want to have a good relationship? Do you want to have a good career? Do you want to be happy in life? All of those different aspects of life, many people generally want. Many people want to be happy, they want to have a good career, and they want to have a good relationship. All of that is going to be based on, do you have some type of emotional intelligence or able to think in a scenario where you had to think about the other person, not to change their emotion, to understand it. Because when you understand someone, then you can kind of relate where they're coming from, but just because you understand them does not mean you understand what they're going through. Because I can be going through something that you might have went through and it hits me different. So depending on how it hits me is going to be different than how it hit you. So this blog really dives in deep to emotional intelligence and then really get a good understanding of how to be emotionally intelligent and then the importance of being emotionally intelligent. Because the goal is success. The goal is positive. And if we can get there, we're halfway to victory. When it comes to EQ and emotional intelligence, as a teacher, especially a coach, I have to be able to see all the different things that many people don't even relate to you. It could be the tone of their voice. It could be their stature. How are they standing? Do they have a crouch back and they're looking down? Are they looking at the floor? Are they fidgeting their hands? How do they look? Do they look well kept? Do they look kind of tired, bags under their eyes? All of these different factors are emotional intelligence because we're paying attention to the nonverbal cues. So when someone comes to me with coaching, I might not see them face to face because sometimes they just want phone calls, which is perfectly fine. So we can either do video calls or phone calls, and sometimes video calls are not available. So the person will just have to use a phone call. So I might not see how they look. I might not know that they have bags under their eyes. I might not know that they look disheveled. Their hair is a mess. But how is their voice? How strong is their voice? Is it confident? Is it tired? Is it raspy? All of those factors come into play when I talk to someone. Now, it is a lot of work, I guess you can say that, but at the same time, many times people are going to cover up what they don't want people to see. They'll put on a smile. They'll say, everything's okay, I'm fine, I'm okay. How are you doing this morning? I'm doing good. When good can be farthest from the truth. You can be doing terrible. Yet, we just have a blanket statement so people don't worry, so people don't pry. And emotionally intelligent people are not going to be deceived by that. Now, of course, if someone tells me that they're fine, I'm not going to pry after I already asked them the question. The reason being, emotional intelligence is understanding where that person is. Because if that person is in a negative place, the last thing they want to do is revisit that type of thought or feeling that is keeping them there. Now, what I do for those people is tell them, well, I'm here if you need me, or I'm here when you need me. And then I walk away. They're not going to chase me saying, I don't need you. I never had that before in my life. Maybe now that people know about it, But most people are going to put that in the back of their mind, and then they're going to call me in a month, maybe 2 months, after they had some time, the seed finally sprouted. That thought, that feeling can be adjusted, because many people, they get into this habit of feeling down for themselves, and that's how they feel. But that's kind of going down the negative side of EQ and emotional intelligence, where we look at how someone is and they're so depressed and they're sad, and we really can't do much for them, right? Besides be there when they're ready. Now, there is a more critical thinking side to emotional intelligence, and that's going to be dealing with education. And I remember multiple stories when I was an educator, how emotional intelligence helped me be more effective. Now, when I was in college, I was a swim instructor. As many of you might know, if you're a longtime listener, you'll know that I got to the point of being a swim instructor where I could see a kid and I can tell if they knew how to swim or if they didn't know how to swim. Now, that's just from me looking at them. Now, if they didn't know how to swim, I could actually pick them up and I can give a ballpark of how long it would take for them to swim. I remember I had one boy. He was afraid of the water, but he wasn't afraid to get in the water. He was afraid to get his hair wet. Now, I'm not sure why he was afraid to get his hair wet, but he was. Wonderful kid. In the beginning, he was super afraid of the water. Whenever he got his nose close to the water, he would breathe into his nose, and guess what happened? He got water in his nose, and that doesn't feel good. So now he doesn't want to put his head in the water because every time he does it, he understands, oh, this is pain. It took months, probably almost a year, for him to get over that fear. And it was an accident. It was a total accident how we did it, where he was on the side of the pool. He kind of pushed himself in, and then I picked him up. His whole head was submerged underwater. He didn't get any water in his mouth or in his nose, and he was getting ready to freak out. And the only thing I said was, high five. We just carried on with our day. In the next lesson, this kid was underwater like he was a scuba diver. He kept just going underwater. He didn't want a swim lesson. He just wanted to be underwater. He went from being afraid of the water to not overnight almost, just because of one incident. Just because of that time when he realized, wait, going under the water doesn't have to be painful, and this is what I have to do. It was kind of like that connection finally clicked in the brain. We were able to accomplish our goal, the mom and I, with patience, right? We knew he can do it. It's just that we had to slowly get there. And then his sister was kind of looking at the brother because the sister was younger. So the sister was a little bit more timid. But once the brother was confident, guess what happened to the sister? The sister automatically became confident. So the sister, I think, is a year or two younger than him, and she is swimming. So it's kind of like it rubs off the other people, right? Or someone confident, does someone have a good energy, a good vibe to them? And you might have experienced this before where you just like someone, right? They have a good energy. You're like, whoa, I like this person's energy. They're vibrant, they're colorful, they're confident, and you enjoy that about that person. So that is what gravitates you to that person. That's emotional intelligence. You're able to see what that person is exuding and then kind of saying, I like it or I don't like it. And sometimes we get that negative person, right? We get that negative person who has those limiting beliefs and they're just a downer and they're just never fun. They're always pessimistic. And then eventually you separate yourself from that person because you understand, like, you know what, this person just always down. This person's always negative and I just can't be around that. That's emotional intelligence. We can't change a person again, but you can change your environment. You can change who you surround yourself with. So if you don't like who you surround yourself with, change it. There's nothing to it but to do it. And for many people, they choose not to pay attention. So in our society today, many people have emotional intelligence, but they just are not aware that they have it. So they might hang around with people who are not good for them. They don't seek out good things when bad things happen. They are going to do these non-verbal actions or these basically subconscious actions. For example, when I'm walking, I'm looking at the ground. I don't make eye contact with people. When I have to talk to someone, all of these different things have an effect on emotional intelligence. If someone comes to me and they say, hey, Mike, I want to be more confident. Well, first of all, confidence comes after the act. So we have to be courageous first and then not be confident in order to be confident. So if they say, I want to be courageous, and I say, into what regard? And they say, oh, well, public speaking. Well, I say, okay, well, let's do some public speaking. And then we'll figure out where we can publicly speak. And then we start. And before they begin, I just watch what they do. They might go up on stage and they're fidgeting their hands and they're looking at the ground and they have a very soft voice. And it could be all of these different things, right? They're using filler words. We have to get out of that. So we slowly fix it, right? We say, hey, why not, use so many filler words? Why not make some more eye contact? Why not move your body a little bit more? You are like a tree up there. You're so stiff. You need a massage, etc., right? We are getting that person to be what they want just from me paying attention to them. The same thing is true when someone's very angry. If someone is angry just at the world and they kind of blow up on you, now you're not the person who made them angry, but you're the scapegoat. So now you have to deal with this person. Well, you have a few choices here. You can address this situation. So if someone's yelling at you, you can yell at them. If someone's yelling at you, you can say, when you're ready, we can talk, right? So you avoid the conflict, or you can divert is the final one. And that was what I typically did when I was a teacher. I would always divert their energy and I would move it in a way where I would like it to move rather than how they're moving it. I remember one time I was in class and it was a 5th grader. Good kid, really good kid, very smart. He had the world for him. Started to have some family problems at home. We can see it, right? So he's acting up. He's hanging around with people. He's trying to be the class clown. But again, this was a good kid. He just got into the wrong environment, the wrong mindset. And I remember one day he was just not in a good mood. So he was disruptive in class. And I just said, hey, wait in the hallway for me. So he went in the hallway. I got the class started. It took about 5-6 minutes. And then I went out in the hallway and I tried to talk to this young man. And the first thing he does is be defensive. I don't know why, blah, blah, blah. And he's like yelling. And the only thing I said was, hey, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just trying to have a conversation. That's the only thing I said to him. I'm not yelling at you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. And then he just kind of went on saying, he lowered his voice. And he's like, it's like, and then he kind of told me what was going on. And I told him, I said, all right, go get some water, walk, go to the bathroom, come back. We can start over, right? I'm not sure what is really going on, but right now you just need to, take a breather right now. So he went, got some water, went to the bathroom. He came back. He sat in class. He participated a little bit. It was a win. And then after, I had to mentor 3 of those young boys in that class, but it was for a good cause, right? Because the way they were going was their energy was kind of haywire. And the way they were going, their energy was kind of haywire. So it's kind of like you just had a mash of people. Think of a relationship, for example, where you just have 2 opposite people and it just is not a good fit, right? They say opposites attract, but this is not a good fit, right? So you have someone who's super adventurous and someone who's very timid and they're jumping off cliffs and going rock climbing. Another person is just dreading it every single time. Of course, there's a probability that that person is going to rise to the challenge and get over their fears. But there's also a good possibility that that person is going to resent that other person. So yes, it can work, but then most of the time, that person is going to stay who they are because change is a lot of work and the brain doesn't really like change. When we look at emotional intelligence, it's more than just realizing how someone is feeling, because we have to pay attention to all the subtle cues of that person. And in this blog, Emotional Intelligence, we get a good understanding of what emotional intelligence is and then how you can be more emotionally intelligent. Because one of the goals that I want to instill on people is the ability to self-diagnose. And this was one of my first TOS series, how to diagnose yourself, right? How to coach yourself. Because if you can't walk yourself through a situation, you're not going to be able to get out of it very easily. Now, of course, you can get a coach and they can help you along the way, but understanding where you are emotionally and then the people around you is going to make a huge impact on what you're able to accomplish in your life. So that means more success, better relationships, more money. All of those different things come with a high emotional intelligence, because now we're not just moving through life. We're paying attention while we do it. And when we can pay attention, better things start to happen, because we're not just kind of moving with society. We're moving according to how society is moving. That's a big difference. One, you're a leader, and the other one, you're a follower. And I would rather you be a leader in society rather than be a follower. So this blog is just the surface level of what emotional intelligence is. Now, some people have a natural instinct for emotional intelligence. Typically, teachers, mothers are going to have a higher EQ, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a male can't learn it or someone who's not in the teaching profession can't learn it. If you're a boss, you might not have high emotional intelligence, but then you might have some CEOs and some managers who do have high emotional intelligence. Those people are typically going to be the people you want to work with. So the people who have higher EQ, because they're going to be able to see where you're going and they're going to adjust accordingly. They're going to see what you need to be successful, what you want in your life, and they're going to do their best to facilitate that. I do my best to facilitate that with my crew, where it's, if I'm looking at someone and they need something, what do they need? Because yes, I can give out raises all day, but just because I'm giving them more money doesn't mean that's going to constitute to more happiness in the job. Maybe they just want a simple congratulations or a job well done. Things like that can make a difference. There's certain things that we can say, and there's certain things that I said in my career where I can boost someone's emotional intelligence or just their actions in general by simple phrases and simple words. And those phrases can be as simple as, great job, keep up the good work, don't stop, I love what you did. Those simple acts, those simple phrases can mean more to a person than any amount of money. Because if I give you a certain amount of money, you might feel good, right? And you might say, oh, wow, I got some money and now I can fill up my tank with gas. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be happier. And EQ is looking at how can someone be successful, how can someone be happy, and how can someone win every single day. And sometimes it's those small little things that we show the world that people just have to pay attention to. So if you're interested in hiring your emotional intelligence, if you're a manager, a leader, you're going to want to read this blog again, Emotional Intelligence, and it's going to really give you a good understanding of where you should be moving, how you should be moving, and then how others move so you can make the best decisions at any given point in time. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me. If you're looking for coaching, head over to revenconcepts.com, and I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone, take care.